I am in my truck and it is time for some soul collage. I have the back open and I have taken some of my stuff out as I get settled into this spot for the night. And that opens up room for me to spread out. And I started a card earlier today when I was next to the Rio Grande around Rock Lion Man. And that is the view outside of my traveling art studio. I like to save the scraps of images because they do come in handy to fill in the holes. So I'm using the scraps to fill in some of this darkness to better connect the rock mass with my body. And that helps that continuity and helps make it less blocky. This brings in a deep meditative element to making a card. It's like just really interacting with the nuances of the story that's birthing. So I have kind of filled up this space with rock so it looks more continuous. So I cut off the edges so I can better see what I'm working with. And so this just looks a little too sharp. And there's this line that comes through. So that's the line that I'll follow through. And so now that section is a bit more free-flowy. So now what I want to do is I want to work with how my body ties into the rock. But I'm going to hold off on that cut until I get some of the other structures on here so that I can see what other leading lines might work with that manipulation. So once again, that's not even glued down. I just glued the corner to anchor her. Now I have this guy coming through. He's got his scalpel. He's got his own wound over here, this winged creature. Now see, now I'm running into, gosh, I anchored her in the corner and he won't slide under very easily. So I'll need to work around that. So I'm going to just kind of lift the corner before it dries. So I have a little bit of malleability in this section. He's not quite ready to go on just yet. So sometimes I just listen, and if I feel a hesitancy in the image, I'll listen to it and then come back. Now, also, when cutting this way, like I've lost my lion head. Where'd you go, Mr. Lion? There he is. So here's the lion. And when I cut him, here's his mane. So I can use the mane to fill in different areas. So he's gonna go in here. Wow, and his beard fits so amazingly in that valley. Wow. And then I usually put the glue on the card rather than the image. If I put it on the image, sometimes that will wrinkle the image. So I put the glue on the card. Oh my gosh, he's so amazing. And then I'm going to use some of his mane over here in the corner to carry some of that coloring. Now, here's a picture. It was in an ad, and there was a person running on the trail. So I just cut the person out, and then I can bring those two pieces together and make a landscape image with it. And there's lots of creatures in the landscape that I'm actually going to be covering up with other images. But I know what's underneath, and I can work the magic of the imagery that's hidden into the creation process as well. I'm just gonna commit. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. You are committed. So now I can better understand kind of what's happening in this area, which can help instruct how this maybe wants to flow in. There's a butterfly on this landscape, and I can position this landscape so that the mountain range lines up between the two halves of my images. And you can also see the butterfly coming out of my body from this process of gardening. That's potent. Yay! Little added metaphor there. So here's the butterfly coming out of my body, and I lined up the mountains to stay the same. And then what I want to do is, as I glue all these pieces together, this section right here is a very sharp line between light and dark. Here's a scrap. I'm just gonna cut out a little bit of that scrap and shove it in that little area. Use some of the light stuff from his leg that I cut out to complete his arm, which is a little funky wonky. So just use a scrap, and now his arm is continuous. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely.